There's different parts of leadership, and I think the horses teach us something because they're herd animals. And people want to follow people, and that, of course, is part of leadership, this charisma that you're talking about. People wanting to follow other people because it feels good, it feels right, they feel safe, they feel as though they can trust, and it's a give and take. There's a give and take relationship. When someone is in their truth, they can stand in that give and take more easily. And it's hard to learn these things unless you actually can experience them. And that's where the horses come in. You can actually experience what it's like to be in a small space with a horse at liberty. That means no harnesses or tack or anything. And be in a relationship with them where they're following you, where you're following them sometimes, all on the ground. And there's a 1,200-pound being that you are in communication with and in relationship with. It's about trust, first of all. Any kind of connection is about trust and awareness, both of oneself and the other person. And you can act on that or not, but it needs to be there as a basis for co-creating the relationship with each other. So as a result of working with corporations, teams, executives, it's easy to create that relationship through meeting them where they are, using the language that they're used to, and helping them to move forward using the principles that I use with the horses without any horses. It's an amazing process, but they don't even know that's what we're doing. When I first started working with horses, this was in 2008, and what I was learning so much from them is to be aware of my body, and that our somatic and emotional responses were information that actually first come in through the limbic system and then is processed cognitively later. So we're out there interacting with our environment before we even know that we're doing it, right? So it is information for us. That most of us don't pay any attention to whatsoever. But I was all excited about my new thing that I was learning about. Let's pay attention to the body. So I was working with the CEO, and I said, so he's asking me, and I'm doing a team coaching, and I was his executive coach as well. And so he's wondering about what's going on, and should he do this, and, asking my advice for that. And I said, well, John, just listen to your body, right? He goes, well, what is it supposed to tell me? What stock I'm supposed to buy? And I just said, well, maybe I need to look into this a bit further before I start doing that approach. So in fact, there's different roles that people need to play within a group, an organization, just the same as with the horses. There's different roles. They need to have what is called a dominant role. Dominance without force, if you will, power, is very important. You need to be able to have strength. You need to be able to hold boundaries. You need to be able to keep predators at bay. And then there's the leader, which is not necessarily always the dominant one. We've always heard about leaders that come from behind, or, who's the real leader here? They may not even be saying anything, but they're the person that people want to follow, even if they're the designated leader. There was a man, he's an engineer who was a leader in his field in terms of an expert. However, and working for a very well-renowned oil company, and he just had no people skills, none. So he was burning bridges right and left, although he was brilliant. So they sent him for a 4-day leadership course with me, and it was a private one. So what I did was I met him where he was. Remember I was talking about the language? With traditional Myers-Briggs and other kind of leadership assessments so that he could understand, at least in his language, a way to...
Behavioral preference.
Exactly. And then the experiences with the horses only validated those, but on an experiential level. For example, one of the exercises that I have or experiences that I create is for the person, in this case, this man, to lead the horse around on the ground with a lead rope. That's it. just simply walk around in a circle with the horse. Well, he had a hold of this horse like this, and he was just jerking him all over the place. And the horse, of course, was escalating higher and higher and higher. I finally had to say, step away from the horse.
Otherwise, it's going to be dangerous. Yeah.
That's the way he treats his people. That's exactly the way he treats his people. Well, he thought it was ridiculous. He just says, well, you just got to show him who's in charge, show him who's boss. So every single thing, of course, he had a dominant leadership style. Of course, he had all of the things that the traditional assessments showed, but he was watching it. So we went through all of this on and off for 4 days. On the last day, there's an experience that I gave him where with his back outside of a round enclosure, and the horse was in there at liberty with, no tack. His back was there, and I take him through a body scan, which is a way for us to look at and feel what's going on, trying to create that mind-body connection and to listen to and see if there's any information for you. And so I asked him what he wanted his experience to be with the same horse, by the way, that he had that first day. He said, I wanted to experience vulnerability.
Wow,
well, meanwhile, behind him, the horse was rolling. And that's the most vulnerable position that a horse can be, on their back with their feet in the air. So he turns around and he sees Simon, and there's tears coming down his cheeks. And he says, I don't even need to go in with him.